Welcome to the second podcast, video blog of Fast Times. I'm the editor, Dino Directo, and I'm with my crew, Francis Aguila, Isaac Atienza, and Chewy Buhion, and the Rose Among the Thorns, Jen Chu. Good evening, guys.
Keep
Welcome to
us.
our second vlog. Francis, what's up with the industry? What happened before the month of February, before the love month? Ika.
Well, boss. I think there is definitely a little bit of growth in the automotive industry again. Of course, it's not the same as 2019, but there is some movement being seen, and hopefully that continues the positive trend.
Mhm. Okay. Isaac, what else did the industry gave us for past couple of days?
Recently, we had the Ford Ranger launch. Ford updated the entire Ranger lineup. They have a new grill, mostly external aesthetic updates. That's
Mm.
opportunity to launch the Ranger Life campaign as well.
Do you think that will do the brand good, considering there are a lot of complaints coming from local buyers about the
Well,
Raptor?
well, in 2020, they were the ones on top of the in terms of the 4x4 sales, the 4x4 variants, and in terms of the overall pickup sales, they're within the top 10 of the overall industry sales. So
Oh, I think they're number one, ano, sa pickup, ano, or is it still Toyota?
overall, I think it's Navara or the Hilux. But if it's just the
Navara.
4x4 models, it's supposedly the Ranger who's the best selling in the among the 4x4 equipped pickups.
You know the reason why I brought that up, no? I don't know if Chu is familiar with this. There's a post in thread, ano, that there's this guy who bought a Raptor, only a month old, and it's stalled in ano, sa along Star Tollway going to Batangas. The engine just died. They were doing like 120 kilometers per hour, and the driver was he was with his kids. So that was kind of scary, you know. So I don't know. I've been receiving complaints also from other friends who bought Ford pickups. Na there's always a problem with the transmission. The oil kind of dries out. Eh. What do you think of that, Chubi? You're connected with the brand, so parang natutuyuda yung langis sa loob ng transmission. Eh.
The number one good thing is Ford's proactively listening to all the different complaints coming in. Of course, we have our social listening, and we listen to the number one people in our lives, which are the customers. And we proactively go back to our product development and to service, and we look into it. And of course, they do right by their customers, and they contact those who are affected. Like we do numerous recalls and whatnot, but I think the number one thing is, of course, customer safety. I can't personally speak upon the issue itself, but rest assured, coming from the other side, it is always a proactive activity from any brand out there to keep their customers and their passengers safe. So when things like this happen, of course, your manufacturers are listening to you, and then they go back to their product development, and they improve upon the product so that next time it doesn't happen. And of course, next time it does not affect the customers, doesn't hassle them, and it keeps everybody safe at the same time.
Yeah, despite of all these problems, no, people are still buying Fords.
Boss, I'd like to jump in real quick. Actually, I'm a 5-year owner of a Ranger, and so far,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had too many problems with it in terms of mechanical. Definitely, there are some things that I would have liked to see um, improved, like with any vehicle. But 5-year Ranger owner and an 8-year Everest owner before that. So I do think that Ford does have a bit of a reputation for um, having these reliability issues. But personally, in my case, 13 years of Ford ownership, I haven't really had a serious problem.
They say that Ford means fix or repair daily.
If you're gonna fix it, please come to our approved dealerships and service centers. If you're gonna do it daily, so that we can give you that Ford assurance that we're gonna fix it one time and that's gonna be fixed for sure.
But in fairness to Ford, no, the two cases that I told them, they acted upon it. No? Like there's this Everest owner na who owns a 2018 model na nagli-leak yung kanyang sunroof. So inayos naman, no questions asked. And there's this golfer who recently bought a Ranger na ganun din, same case na namatayan na lang bigla on his way to Santa Elena. So it's kind of scary, for you to all of a sudden your engine dies down while you're doing 100 or 120 kilometers. And then suddenly it dies down. Nakakatakot siya. I don't know what to do with that kind of scenario if that happens to me. Maybe I'll just raise my hand and scream like a girl.
I think to
Pero,
add to that,
yeah.
boss, Ford, I believe would is probably doing something right. I mean, they're still ranking number 4, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken, as of January 2021 in terms of sales, even if it did dip a little bit. But in terms of the service, yeah, we have been hearing a lot of after sales complaints from the consumers, but it normally has to do with the dealer group level. So there are
okay.
specific, yeah, because most Ford dealerships are owned by different dealer groups, and there are specific dealerships that are notorious for not being able to provide the kind of standard that I'm sure head office is trying to uphold. From my personal experience, whenever we do report this to head office, they do act upon it as quickly as they can. And I
Mm.
believe that, if you're going to be a dealer group who's going to take on a brand, it's your responsibility to uphold the image, the standard of the brand, not just in terms of sales or not just in terms of the display of your showroom, but also all the way until the service quality. So, ingat-ingat yung mga dealer group naman. Kasi kung
Oo nga,
nasilipan
oo.
sila,
Tama yan.
syempre, I mean, it does be a little more mindful. I think that's what we want to say to these people that, your business is still rooted upon a brand that has built its name over generations. So,
Mm. So how about your take on that, Isaac?
Uh, yeah, I've been seeing as well a lot of well, not a lot, but those complaints on the after sales side on Facebook groups, because I often try to check Facebook groups of different car owners,
Mm.
such as the territory, the Ranger. Yeah, there's really that problem, at least on the dealer level. But yeah, I think that's a good part. That's a part that I guess Ford should work on more, the after sales part, since that's basically what I guess I could call like the direct communication between the brand and the customers. It's gonna be the dealers that's gonna be interacting regularly with the customers and not Ford Group Philippines themselves.
Oo, kasi para for me as a consumer, the relationship starts with the after sales. It's not when you buy the vehicle and it flies off the showroom. Hindi yung pagbili mo right after pagka yung first PMS mo, yung importante yun eh. Ako so far no, I don't own a Ford. I own Japanese cars, yung brand ng Honda saka Nissan is okay. They remind you of the PMS. If there's something wrong with your car, pupuntahan ka nila. Ako, I live up in the bundok sa Antipolo, so it's no joke going to my place. Pero in spite of the distance, they go out of their way to service my car, which is good PR and good after sales. Dapat ganun. Ang Ford naman, Chewy, in fairness, they picked up my friend's Ranger along SC Tex, no? Ay, SC Tex, S-Lex. and they even provided a unit for him to use while the Ranger was being serviced. Okay, okay din naman. Kaya lang, nang nabwisit lang siya is 1 month old pa lang yung Ranger niya. He was going to Santa Elena to play golf. Sabay, hindi na siya nakapag-flight dahil doon. Kaya nabwisit. So, yun lang naman. Well, the expansion of the Ranger lineup is good for the consumers, but they will have more
Yes.
variants to choose from kasi not everybody wants a 4x4. No, if you only live in the city, why buy a 4x4? May 4x2 ka naman, di ba, Isaac? It's like wearing golf shoes to go to the mall, di ba? Kia nga pala, Kia, who here attended the Kia event?
I don't think any of us attended this. Are you talking about the Stonic event?
Yeah, the Stonic, the
I
Stone.
don't think anyone on this
No, no, no.
team
Hindi
actually
pala yun.
visited.
Yung ano nila, yung kanilang press launch, they announced the 4 new models that they will come out this year. What do you think of that? The plan of Kia to be aggressive this year, since it's recovery year for the industry.
I have a feeling gonna launch the Kia Sorento, the
Oh,
seven-seater crossover
oh,
SUV.
ayaw
And
nilang ayaw nilang magbigay ng teaser eh.
yeah. But I think, sir, that's what they're gonna bring in, the Sorento and the Carnival. I'm not sure of what the two other vehicles are, but
Oh,
since seven-seater vehicles, there's a high chance that it's probably gonna be the Sorento or the Carnival. Since there's already an all-new model overseas.
marami silang ano eh. I've been seeing on YouTube and other sites na yung mga magagandang models ng Kia. I haven't had the privilege of extracting answers from Manny Aligada, who is tight-lipped about his plans. No matter how hard I try, nahihirapan si Franz ay magsalita. Basta four units daw yung ilalabas nila this year eh. Inala ko yung Sorrento yun eh. Sorrento nga, saka yung upgraded Carnival siguro. Kasi na top sellers nila dito eh.
I have to say, Dino, Kia is one of the few brands right now. I have just and just not many of the brands are out there right now can say this. I don't think there is a single ugly car in the Kia lineup today. I really think
Oh,
they're all designed very well. Like
oh,
there's no real weak link. The Sportage looks great. The Stonic looks good. The Sorento looks good. The Stinger looks fantastic. I will say this that if their idea is to be aggressive this year with their model lineup, then they have some really good cars. At the very least, aesthetically beautiful.
sabi ko, Francis, ano ka, Euro car guy ka eh. Do you think the Stinger can take on the European counterparts in terms of
Definitely,
performance?
I think for performance, Dean, I think the Stinger's already proven it can hang with a lot of the European, American, Japanese performance cars. Now, as far as refinement, as far as quality of the materials inside, I think there's a little bit of ways to go still. But if you're talking about performance, and of course, the amount of performance you get for the amount you're paying, it's hard to argue with the Stinger.
Oo, ako, I've driven the Mercedes Vito and the Carnival. Yung the current model, iba, ang layo nung pwede na siya lumaban si Mercedes in terms of comfort and power, yung drivability, yung passenger comfort. It's like being in your sala at home eh. When you're at the back, when you're sitting at the back, you
You know,
should
for the
you should
carnival, I
try
really
that.
agree. The carnival is
Oh,
probably if you want understated luxury, I think the
mm.
carnival is probably your best bang for buck van out there.
Ikaw, Jen, do you have a favorite Kia Kia car variant?
Well, I'm very curious about the Stonic because, well, number one, first off, it's number three on their best-selling lineup last year without anyone having test driven it, without, coming from a pandemic launch, without anyone having test driven it. There's no really a real way for us at that point to even view the car, except
Mhm.
virtually. It sold very well. It was one of their top three. And
Mhm.
even according to President Manny Aligada, it's also a vehicle that they are eyeing in terms of opportunity in the fleet sector, meaning fleet in terms of commercial, of being like sales fleet vehicles for
Mhm.
companies, for corporations. But that means that they are going head to head with some of the biggest fleet providers like Honda and Toyota. Kasi for now, some of the biggest are really Honda and Toyota. Eh.
Mhm.
Pinaka-widest fleet accounts are always from coming from those two brands, and now you're seeing Kia getting into that sector. I think
Tama.
to add to that, that the Ayala Automotive has been really aggressive in terms of that because you're looking seeing Volkswagens actually VWs being part of fleets also.
Oo,
So I'm
both.
really curious about the Stonic. I really want to see it. I got invited to the drive, but I'm too praning to actually join it. Pero
Wala
yan,
yata
sobrang
ang nagpunta sa atin, pero
praning tayong
ah,
lahat.
ako, in spirit, I was with them. Sabi ko kay Manny, in spirit, I'll be with you.
Dapat may picture ka kahit in spirit.
Meron, actually, I'll come
Photoshop.
out with a story next week.
Kunyaring na-drive mo na pala.
Kunyari na drive ko na.
You can ask
Pero,
Miss
pero I've
Timmy to
driven it
send you a
actually.
car. You can ask Miss Timmy to send you a model na lang.
Oo nga, alam mo, I have to agree with Francis, no?
Mm,
Most Korean cars now, like the Hyundais and the Kias,
yeah.
they no longer look Korean eh. Di ba? Dahil malaking bagay yung nag-pirate sila ng mga European designers. Nabago yung design direction eh, no? Dati hindi mo ko mapapamanihan ng Kia Pride eh, di ba? Mag-jeep na lang ako imbis na maki-Kia Pride ako.
Grabe naman to. Pero
Oo.
agree ako, the design for Kia has greatly improved over the years.
Oo.
Pwede na.
Saka
Pero
nag-aggressive
Kia
sila,
talaga,
no?
I find nag-improve siya.
Saka nag-aggressive sila in terms of marketing, di ba? Sa PGA Tour, sa Wimbledon, official car nila, kundi Kia, Hyundai. Di ba? Big budget. Talagang their product is out there doing stuff, no? Talagang binuo sila yung budget. Kaya Boss Manny, Beckham yan, di ba? Sponsor tayo dyan.
Tama, sir.
Actually,
Diba? They refreshed their logo din and made it more younger and wow, yeah. And also, yung nakakatuwa sa Kia is they have a car for every segment. So parang
Mhm.
if you're out there, you want the sports car, you get the Stinger, you want a family car, you get the Carnival. So parang Sir Francis is right na maganda siya tignan. And no matter what you're looking for, you have that same design language all throughout. So kung van man or kung sports car, at least you have that great Kia styling. Pati yung quality niya, umaangat na eh. Pero my question is to
Yes.
all, actually for everybody, most especially Sir Francis, does it make a difference na yung Euro performance pero nasasabi, ay, Kia siya, pero hindi siya BMW, but it's at par performance-wise with a BMW. Does that make a difference for you?
Um, Unfortunately, for most people, I think it still does, and it's quite unfortunate because you're missing out on a lot of really good driving experiences. Whether it's Kia, again we talk about the Stinger. I mean, I personally haven't driven it, but the reviews look fantastic. Um, for the Hyundai, I discussed well, very briefly in the last article I wrote for the print edition. Um, the Genesis Coupe, quite frankly, was ahead of its time, especially in the Philippine market. Um, Around the time it was launched, I think it's 2007, 2008. There really wasn't an affordable sports car that you would really go to. At the time, the Mazda had the NC Miata, and that didn't resonate so well with local buyers. And quite frankly, I don't think it resonated that well globally. The ND, of course, is a completely different story. But at the time, um, it really doubled down and said, we're gonna bet on a performance car in the Philippines. And I think that's one of the reasons why I think it's paid dividends for for Hyundai and Kia to say, oh, there's a Korean car that's actually it's aspirational. So on that note, quite frankly, it shouldn't be an issue. For some people, I'm sure it is. But having driven, some really great, well sorted Genesis coupes out there, quite frankly, performance is performance. Doesn't matter what the badge is on there.
Guys, since we're talking about changes, what do you think of that American company that changed their logo after for so many years? Chevrolet yata yun. Chevrolet ba yun? Yung nagbago na logo. Hindi ko
Uh,
maintindihan. Ba't nila binago?
GM.
GM, no?
Motors.
GM ba?
GM's going into the more electric because di ba may parang plug yata sila na
Sila ba yun? Sila
incorporate
ba yung
into.
nagbago na logo?
Yes, sir. GM is probably incorporated plug, yung symbol or logo ng plug into the General Motors symbol logo.
It's like changing the logo of Coca-Cola. For me, parang bakit papalitan mo di ba? Ilang taon na yung GM Chewy. Ilang taon na ba yan?
Side to side with Ford Buhion So 100 plus din.
100 plus, no?
Yeah, it's been around 1908 General Motors. So yeah,
So-
more than 100 years.
You think it's a good move on their part to do that? Kasi ngayon, yung
they
mga
have no
purists,
choice.
parang galit na galit yung mga purists, parang why change it? It's GM. Di ba?
I think they have no choice. I think if they change the logo of Chevrolet, it'd be a bigger deal. But because GM is the parent company and there's no real GM branded cars unless you could consider GMC, which has its own logo. I don't think it's as big a deal. I understand why they're doing it because, of course, it's de rigueur nowadays. It's cool nowadays to say, you know what, we're embracing the electric revolution. And again, the U.S. has aside from Tesla, has been historically behind the curve on technology. I think they want to change that image.
I think Google is, or is it Microsoft, was going up, was doing an e-car to compete sa Apple ba yun? Apple ba yung gagawa
I think
ng
that's
e-car?
Apple and Hyundai and Nissan and ang daming
Everyone.
partnerships na.
Pero sa ngayon, Tesla ang target no? Tesla ang target
Yes.
nila
Yeah, Tesla's the ultimate right now.
Pero yung legit
I
na
think the direction kasi is really going into electric already. That's the direction. It may not necessarily happen today or this year or next year, but that's generally the direction that all the brands are going into. With regard to the rebranding of a lot of brands, well, GM's not the only one. I mean, even Kia rebranded, Japanese brands have been rebranding. Even, I just agree that GM's new logo probably looks more like a gadget brand now rather than an automotive brand. I think maybe that's what's bothering the purists.
parang mawawala na identity yung mga collection nila
Yeah. Well, it's like saying na, di ba marami naman, like, yung mga logo through the years or the different models through the years. So I think it's just, and the purists are just how many of them.
ito lang ikaw, Jen,
talk about
anong favorite brand mo? Consumer brand? Like kunyari, a watch or a shoe. Do you have a favorite brand all these years?
No, actually, I don't really have, at the moment, I don't really have a favorite brand. Like maybe for a watch, I'm partial to Orient.
Orient.
Yes.
Ikaw, Aiki. Anong brand mo na particular ka na gusto mo bilhin parati yung brand na yun?
I think a lot of people do really know that Mazda's my favorite brand.
Mazda. O anong magiging reaction mo kung if Orient or Mazda decides to change their logo? Di ba medyo masakit, di ba?
I guess if
I
it
go,
sticks to their corporate identity still, I think it's gonna be okay for me. Since they just changed, since it's pretty recent for them that they changed their brand to the wing looking thing. I think they only did that in the mid-90s.
Mhm.
So it's still a pretty recent logo.
logos aren't really that important for me. What's important for me is actually what's in my watch.
Quality.
And the design of the watch.
Isa pa
Kasi,
problema, GM has reliability dependability issues also. They should fix that instead of fixing the logo, di ba?
I think coming from a corporate perspective, for
Mm.
the sake of discussion, coming from a corporate perspective, rebranding happens in stages. So
Mhm.
you can probably say we don't know internally what their plan or their strategy is, but from what we can see right now, when a brand rebrands or revamps their image, it normally starts with the logo because it means that
Mhm.
they want to communicate something new to their customers or possibly try to capture the attention of an entirely new market. Because, for
Okay.
instance, GM has already captured the market that they already need. I mean, they're already well known, as you said. It's a 100 plus year old brand. They already have the attention. They're well known. They're like a household name, actually. So what's the next step for a brand that's a household name? It's to capture the new generation, which is I
So,
think the next step that they're trying to make.
kumbaga
So
to
make
improve
it
with the times.
younger. Yes, growing with the times. It's really moving with the
Mm.
times. Because a lot of brands actually have done that, even in gadgets, even in, I mean, you see more brands embracing wireless charging, for instance. Brands that are actually phone brands, hand phone brands, they embrace wireless charging. So it's really more of moving towards that new generation that probably have a different demand from the purists.
Can I
Mm.
just say,
Yeah.
hashtag moving with the times is a really good hashtag for our group.
Oy,
Nice.
forward mo nga sa akin yon, Francis, baka makalimutan natin. Ilagay mo
Memo,
sa thread
memo.
natin. Oh, forward mo para sabihin natin sa IT.
We'll do, boss. Moving
Moving
with the
with the
times.
times, past times. Yeah. Si
So
Boss Click actually nagsasuggest na dapat may tagline ng fast times. Alam mo sa akin ano, tama kayong lahat eh. Yeah, you have to change with the to improve the times, to capture a much modern and bigger market. Siyempre, yung mga purists ng GM, mga 80 anyos na yan, di ba? Tumatanda na. So, yung mga grandkids na nilang bibili ng brand. Like yung Orient o yung Adidas. Adidas yata, nagbago na rin, nag-rebrand yata ang Adidas sa Nike, di ba? Nike, alam ko, nagbago na rin sila eh.
See,
Dati
Adidas, I believe. Yeah, Adidas, I believe, started to change the
Adidas, no?
logo na din. Yes, sir.
O, sa akin, magbago na lahat. Huwag lang ang logo ng mamulok. O, tres, gera tayo dyan. Well, that's a nice discussion. For now, we'll have to cut this session and move on to the BMW review of Isaac Atienza. Isaac, what's your a brief description of the brand a brief description of the car that you drove?
So what I drove is the BMW 118i Sport variant. It's an all-new, the third generation of the 1 Series.
Mhm.
The highlight of the car is, whereas all 1 Series models used to be rear-wheel drive, this is now front-wheel drive, and it uses the same platform as the Mini Countryman, basically the Mini front-wheel drive platform, which is of course part of the BMW group. Purists again, like we were talking about with the GM rebranding,
Mhm.
like rose up in arms that no, it's a front-wheel drive, it's not anymore a rear-wheel drive car, I cannot drift this car anymore. But I think when I drove the car, I actually found the 1 Series, despite being a front-wheel drive luxury hatchback now, I still found it to be a really fun to drive car. It's still that BMW that you expect that's gonna be sporty. The steering's fantastic. There's not much body roll. Okay, sure, your main concern would be you can't drift it. But who
Oh.
drift
Who does
popular?
drifts on a 1 Series? Ayun, may nagtataas ang kamay. May BMW fanatic nga pala tayo rito. Well, with that, no, guys, here's the video review of Isaac Atienza of the new BMW 1 Series. Let's watch.
This is the all-new BMW 1 Series, which is actually quite different compared to the previous generation models. Because unlike past generations of the BMW 1 Series, this new one is now front-wheel drive. Let's find out then if this non-rear-wheel drive BMW 1 Series still deserves the BMW badge. But first, let's talk about its design. Dahil front-wheel drive na itong bagong BMW 1 Series, hindi na niya kailangan ng mahabang hood. Because front-wheel drive cars usually have their engines mounted transversely. The short hood isn't what you would normally expect in a BMW, but the all-new 1 Series still looks good nonetheless. There's a large kidney grille up front, along with those hexagonal LED daytime running lights, and sporty front bumpers. Because this is the sport variant, this model gets 17-inch two-tone alloy wheels. Moving towards the back, and you'll see BMW's signature Hofmeister kink at the rear windows. The wide LED taillights do look nice, along with the sporty rear bumper. Moving inside, and you'll immediately notice that the all-new BMW 1 Series is more spacious than ever before. Unlike past models, a 5'10" adult like me can now finally sit at the rear seats. Legroom and headroom is pretty good. Plus rear seat passengers get aircon vents and USB Type-C ports. Additionally, because this car is now front-wheel drive, trunk space is now at 380 liters, which is 20 liters bigger than the previous model. This trunk finally puts the 1 Series in line with the Audi A3 and Mercedes-Benz A-Class. Moving towards the front, and you'll appreciate the well-built interior. As expected from a BMW, there's plenty of soft-touch materials and aluminum trims, as you would expect in a car like this. BMW's iDrive remains to be one of my most favorite infotainment systems in the industry. Because this is the base 118i Sport, you don't get the newer iDrive 7. Instead, you get this iDrive 6 infotainment system with a smaller screen. Nevertheless, it's still a top-notch infotainment system. iDrive 6 doesn't have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but I actually don't mind since the infotainment system is really that good. The all-new BMW 1 Series is available in two engine choices across two variants. The base 118i Sport is powered by a 1.5-liter 3-cylinder turbocharged gasoline engine, which produces these numbers. On the other hand, the performance-oriented M135i xDrive is powered by a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged gasoline engine, which produces these numbers. As for transmission choices, the front-wheel drive 118i Sport uses a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission, while the all-wheel drive M135i xDrive uses a torque converter 8-speed automatic. So, now that the BMW 1 Series is front-wheel drive, does it actually even matter na hindi na siya ngayon rear-wheel drive? Actually, no. Not even a bit. Why? Because for the most part, it's actually a much better car compared to its predecessor. So, being rear-wheel drive, ang magiging advantage niya out of a front-wheel drive 1 Series would be when you exit a corner, meron ka nung feel na parang you can rotate the chassis as you exit the corner. But that's about it. For the most part, it's actually pretty fun to drive. As in, it's really seriously fun to drive. It's so planted sa corners. I am really enjoying this car so much. Whereas the 1 Series with the rear-wheel drive platform felt a bit twitchy. So, medyo mag-mess up ka lang, you can spin out kasi nga rear-wheel drive siya. But yun nga, kung nagkamali ka, there's that danger na you might spin out. There's that increased tendency for that. Pero, this car feels safer, more stable, and the steering is fabulous and sobrang ganda ng pakiramdam ng steering niya. Even better, I think, than the rear-wheel drive 1 Series because it's super reactive, ang super responsive niya sa mga liko mo. And there's also a decent amount of feedback. As in, this steering feels telepathic. It's really good. Super fun to drive, super sporty. It's not the same EPS na medyo laid back less ang response and feel like in a 5 series. This feels alive. This feels fun to drive. Contributing to the fun factor of the all-new BMW 1 Series is its all-around independent suspension and the fact that it uses a derivative of the front-wheel drive platform of the Mini Cooper. However, this car's sporty suspension setup has a negative effect on ride quality. Yun nga lang ang problema mo, though this car is really fun to drive and the suspension deals with roll pretty well, yun nga lang, matagtag siya, medyo firm yung ride. Di naman siya kasi lala ng, for example, like a body on frame SUV like a Fortuner or a Toyota Hilux. Di naman siya yung ganun level, pero it's really, really firm. As in, talagang it's really firm. It doesn't help with the fact na, as with every typical BMW, naka-run flat tires din to. So, talagang, ang ride quality niya is on the firm side. Though, tolerable, di naman siya yung super lala. On the upside yun nga, it's a fun hatchback to play with. As in, you really want to play with this hatchback. Hindi siya boring. As in, super fun to drive niya. Chuckable in every corner. Talagang super fun. This BMW 118i Sport's tiny 1.5-liter 3-cylinder gasoline engine also deserves some praise. BMW's twin-power turbo technology has made this tiny 1.5-liter engine feel a lot bigger and punchier. This tiny yet powerful gasoline engine also gets excellent fuel economy. For my entire week's use with this car, my average fuel economy hovered around 11.2 to 11.5 kilometers per liter. Yes, itong 1.5-liter turbocharged 3-cylinder niya, super torquey and super punchy niya, and ang ganda rin ng hatak niya on most of the rev range. Hindi mo maiisip na this is a small engine. It's really powerful, it's really perfect for this car. It's the same engine you would find in a Mini Cooper because after all, this front-wheel drive 1 Series has a lot in common with the Mini Cooper platform. And first of all, wala namang sabing boring to drive ang Mini Cooper, hindi pa? And then yung 7-speed dual clutch transmission niya, super suave, super nice, super smooth. Hindi siya yung typical dual clutch na ang jerky niya in city. No, it's smooth for the most part. The shifts are sublime, super smooth, super quick. Nice transmission. It's well calibrated and it's really perfect for this powertrain. Pricing for the all-new BMW 1 Series starts at a little under 2.7 million pesos, which gets you this base 118i Sport variant. This variant is equipped with LED head and tail lights, 17-inch alloy wheels, Sportline exterior package, illuminated exterior door handles, electric adjustment for the driver's seat with 2-person memory, synthetic leather interior, ambient LED lighting, the base iDrive 6 infotainment system, front and rear parking sensors, reverse camera, and BMW's parking assistant self-parking feature. On the other hand, the performance-oriented M135i xDrive costs a little under 4.6 million pesos, and this gets you a more aggressive exterior design, 18-inch alloy wheels, adaptive suspension, launch control, M-Sport brakes, Torsen limited slip differential, the latest BMW iDrive 7, which works in conjunction with the new Live Cockpit fully digital instrument cluster. The M135i xDrive also benefits from a number of driver assist systems, ranging from automatic emergency braking, lane departure warning, lane keeping assist, fully adaptive LED headlights, and BMW's reversing assistant feature, which remembers the last 50 meters you drove, and the system basically replays your steering inputs as you reverse out of a sticky situation. In conclusion, it certainly doesn't matter that the all-new BMW 1 Series is now front-wheel drive, because the fact of the matter is, this front-wheel drive BMW 1 Series is still a fun-to-drive car. On top of the class-leading driving dynamics, the all-new BMW 1 Series is now more practical and spacious than ever before. And for that sole metric alone, the sporty BMW 1 Series will finally appeal to a much wider audience.
We're back. Again, that was a nice review, Aiki. Now let's go into online selling. Kasi sa ngayon, ako natatakot pa rin ako mag-mall sa totoo lang eh. Kasi high risk ako. So now, I let my fingers do the shopping for me and my eyes. Di na ako, ako lalabas, bibili lang ako sa bakery, ayoko eh. So, for you guys who are mostly businessmen like to si Aiki, si Jen, and si Francis, how important is online selling now to businesses, especially in your neck of the woods? We start with Francis, then to Jen, then to Aiki.
Well, definitely everything is moving towards online space, and one of the things that more and more businesses, even in the automotive, they're realizing is that there are still a lot of people like us, like you, even myself, that we're reluctant to go out and to a showroom, to go out to a mall, to go out to an auto parts store, things like that, because of the pandemic and because we don't have widespread vaccination programs already moving. So one thing I've realized is that even the big Toyota, uh, Nissan, Honda, I think Kia as well, they've moved to virtual showrooms, which I think is a really
Mhm.
great move. To get the market of those people who might still need a car, who are still looking to buy a car now, but would rather not unnecessarily go to a public area, especially in an enclosed space like a showroom.
Mhm. How about you, Jen? You have an online selling event last Saturday, no? How was the event nga pala?
Actually, the event was a collaboration with Blade Auto Center. I think we're all very familiar with that. So that is one channel that we tried for the first time. And it's interesting because live selling essentially means that it actually reminds me of sort of like an auction style purchasing. Because how it works is that your products are actually presented via their social media pages. So that's Facebook, Lazada Live, Shopee Live, and YouTube via YouTube. And what
Mhm.
the viewers do is that if they're interested in an item, they message in mine or I get first dibs on that, something like that. So that is one interesting online selling channel that we tried. The others
Mhm.
are your straightforward e-commerce platforms like Lazada, Shopee, your own website, possibly. A lot of aftermarket brands and companies have transitioned during the pandemic in order to meet the demands of the market without forcing people to have to exit their homes. So that's safer for them. So that includes brands like Francis brands under auto performance, like Brembo. They now have Lazada stores. Our own brands also each have Lazada stores right now. So that's for Stonax, for CTEC, for Pia, all of it. And one thing that we notice is that people actually embrace this change, this transition. Remember that in our industry, our automotive industry is very, shall we say, traditional. So most people, and it's not just people of your age, was a lot of people in the aftermarket industry, even buyers lang, they actually want to visit a physical store to see the product that they're buying. Before the pandemic came in, it's very rare that you can encourage a buyer to just buy it offline. We've done it so many times before, and it's not even e-commerce. It's just simply a Facebook inquiry that comes in, and then we tell them that we can service them directly, and they still say that, oh, but can is it available in a store so that I can see it first? I want to be able to actually review the product myself before I buy it. So it was surprising to us that with this transition in the pandemic, suddenly people are actually open to buying online without having to see the product ahead of time. They're willing to pay for it, make a deposit before the product even gets to them. Whereas before, and we're talking about just months before, March 2020, you won't see that happening. It's very rare. So I think I speak for not just our own stores, but because since we supply Blade as a store, we supply Parts Pro, we see that there was an augmented surge in terms of demand online compared to 2019, compared to 2019 and pre-COVID.
Maganda yung ginawa ni ano yan ha, maganda yung partnership niyo with Blade kasi sa ngayon pilay si Robertson dahil yung mga tindahan niya nasa loob ng SM and Robinson's malls eh. Eh, ngayon, people shy away from malls. So, no option but to go online selling like what you did last Saturday.
Actually, credit to Blade. They've
Kay
been
Blade ba
very
siya ba
active and
nag-initiate
very
nun?
aggressive. They've been very active and very aggressive in terms of exploring different ways to retain brand recall for their stores. And even if there are less foot traffic in the malls, they still continue with a lot of in-mall activities just to kind of maintain the morale of their people. And
Oo.
kasi may ibang stores, if you go to the mall, wala nang ang tao, pero parang very miserable looking pa rin yung mga tindahan because nga walang tao. So they still try to keep that level of energy up among their people. So to credit to them, they've
Okay.
been very active about with regards to that.
So, how about you, Aiki? Ito si Aiki, ano to eh. May mga stalls din to sa malls eh. Ano nangyari sa'yo? Do you
Well,
deliver now?
we're in the food business, so I have a different perspective from Jen. And since food tends to be easier in terms of, like, I guess people aren't as conscious as much in like how does the product look like, since they're already familiar with, at least in our case, like Jamaican patties and shawarma shack and the Belgian waffles, they're familiar with the food already. So it's easy for us to have deliveries to other people via Grab. But in terms of foot traffic, it's down compared to before the pandemic. There's really, I think our sales compared to the similar previous, compared to the similar time frame a year ago, it's on, I think, 30 to 40% less in terms of foot traffic. But to the rise of apps like Food Panda and Grab, they really were able to help us survive, or at least be able to serve more customers during this pandemic.
So, kailan ka pa deliver na mga products mo, Aiki?
We
When
just
did you
did,
start that?
we recently did that November.
November. Kamusta
So,
naman? Okay naman.
we were able to take advantage of the holiday season. So there were people who were ordering from us to deliver their homes for their Noche Buena or whatever, their snacks. It did really help us be able to reach more customers, since to the app they can, for example, if I live in this area, you can see from the app which food stores are near in your area. So our stores there, and it really did help us reach out to more customers.
Well, that's good. Chewy, you have a question for the guys?
I do. So not everybody's as lucky as Sir Dino and I na we kilala kayo. Kung may problema kami, syempre isang tawag lang yun. As a consumer buying online, may it be car parts or accessories or even food, Aiki, how do we protect ourselves during these online buying scenarios?
Okay, I'll go first. I would say that make sure you're buying from an authorized dealer or the authorized distributor. Make sure it's a legit store. I know that Lazada is very tempting. When you type in a product, several options come out. That goes with any e-commerce platform because we can't avoid naman na there are some people who really sell whatever. But I think the best is to make sure that you're buying from an authorized dealer. If it's legit, then you're likely to get the real deal. That's one. And secondly, if you have a problem, they will likely respond to you right away. So going back to that concept of after sales. So make sure you're buying from the real deal, and not just because the price is cheaper here or there. Because I personally for me, even if I'm buying from Lazada or Shopee, I actually make sure that it has to have that Lazmall badge, or I'm not buying from it. That's one. Or it's a recommended store. For instance, if Francis is the one who told me that, oh, buy from this store because I bought from it and everything is cool, I got everything in good order, then I will buy from it. But otherwise, kaya nga, my green screen, ang tagal before ako bumili. Kasi I really made sure, like, I'm not even that comfortable with FB Marketplace because I don't know the people who are there. So just make sure you're getting it from a legit source.
To jump on that, and sorry, my unmute button wasn't working, hence the lag in response. Sorry, Chewy. But to add to what Jen was saying, yes, definitely you're looking for an official dealer, authorized dealer. You're looking for an authorized or official distributor. But the easiest way really to find out if the person you're dealing with, the company you're dealing with, is the right person to deal with is if you're looking for a brand, whatever brand it is, it could be, it could be Apple, it could be Sonax, whatever brand it is. The easiest way is to go to the website, go to Google, look for the corporate website, and most of these websites, they'll have a list of who are the authorized dealers, who are the authorized distributors, and then trace it from there. And if they don't, quick email to the manufacturer's website will be usually they'll answer very quickly. That's for me. That's the absolute best way to keep yourself protected, because the sad truth is that, especially in Asia, I mean, the Philippines is it's not an isolated case. Number of counterfeit items, fake items, or even if it's gray market, right? Gray market items with no warranty support, no regional support. They might have accessories which don't work with, let's say, for example, you buy something in the US and it's 110-volt only, right? So all these things come into play when you're looking at purchasing online.
One example that I have, sorry, just to add to what Francis mentioned about counterfeit. We had a recent experience with Pia. So our auto horn has been a really good seller for the past 2 years. And if you go to our official Facebook page, we recently posted a comparison between the real auto horn and the fake auto horn.
Yeah,
So
I saw
there
that
is a
post.
fake counterfeit. There is a counterfeit copy that is going around, and luckily we were able to spot it. Our guys were able to spot it, and we bought it. We bought one just to see the difference. Very small difference. Remember that counterfeit items have very small difference that you might actually miss, because this goes way back to even 2011, 2012, when we first brought in Millie as a power bank brand. We also encountered counterfeit, and we found it in Divisoria. Now
Well,
you find it on Lazada, stuff like that. But there
so
are key differences that you can spot. So back with Millie, we did a comparison post also, and now with Pia, we also did a comparison post.
pag ganun ba, Jen, can you lodge a complaint to Lazada na these knockoffs should be held accountable, or siguro for them to stop selling fake products? Pwede ba yun sa
The
Lazada
the
or
thing with
sa
Lazada
Shopee?
is that the thing with Lazada and Shopee is that they are marketplace platforms. So
So hindi
it
mo pwede
essentially,
piliin yun.
no, how they control, uh, the brand can apply for a Lazmall store, an official flagship store, which means that the requirements will include, presenting authorization certificates that you are the official distributor, presenting business papers that you are legit as a company and as a brand. That's when you get the Lazmall badge. Otherwise, it's a free for all marketplace. Anyone can open an account, anyone can set up and
Okay.
products.
Ang Brembo naman, kamusta, Francis, yung mga products mo? Kamusta naman ang delivery nung yung online orders ng products mo?
Well, for online, we've migrated almost entirely to Lazada, and like Jen was saying, Lazada has their own um, buyer and seller protections. So far okay naman. This, of course, nothing is perfect. You'll have occasional issues with logistics delays or payment delays, but for the most part, it's been all right naman. What's been more I would say more interesting has been the development really of, and you guys had mentioned earlier, is Facebook Marketplace, because um, it's just everything is in Facebook Marketplace now, and so we don't know yet if we're going to be we're going to actively pursue Facebook Marketplace, but it's definitely something on the radar just because of the number of eyeballs it gets. It's really really big.
So that's another hour of views from our panel of experts from the different facets of the automotive industry. On our next vlog, maybe we'll talk about online influencers who are into the career business. I don't know what's going on with their lives dahil kinakastigo na sila ngayon. Hindi na yata raw uso ang influencers eh. Pero tiwati na natin. So on our next topic, we will be, we'll keep you posted no? On our FB page, on our FB teaser ads. And again, thank you for listening, viewing us. Any parting words from our colleagues? We'll start with Francis.
Well, just wanted to say thanks to everyone. Please do subscribe, like our Facebook page, because we are this is a work in progress, and we're trying our best to give you guys the best content we can. If you have any suggestions for topics you want to hear about, please let us know on our Facebook page and or in the comments when we finally publish this, and we'll try to get answering these questions.
Well, yeah, as Francis said, thank you very much for joining us for this hour. We'd like to invite you to come, like, subscribe, and of course, subaybayan nyo yung podcast natin. We're just starting out. We need your help to create this podcast something that is not ours, but more of yours. So kung may concern kayo, anything with automotive or anything that you want to bring up, please let us know in the comment section. Kami na maglalapit sa mga boss na kailangan marinig yung issues nyo or anything like that. Kami na sasagot para sa inyo. And we'll even invite that person to our program here.
Thank you so much for watching. I know this is like episode 2. So more episodes to come. And like what Francis and Chewy had said, we'd love to hear from you. And what topics do you want us to discuss about in our following podcast sessions? Let us know, and we'll try to put that together. We'll try to also invite the guests that you want to see. Who do you want to see on our show? Because nakakasawa naman kung laging kami nakikita nyo. So let's we can bring in some guests. Let's see how we can work that out. So leave us a message, follow, like, subscribe, and send us a message through our Facebook channel.
Thank you guys for listening to this vlog or this podcast. Continue supporting us so that we're going to be able to bring the content that's, of course, what you want us to do, what you want to see, and what you want to hear. And do support us, of course, because wala kaming makakain, wala kaming sponsweldo. And of course, do support us as well so that we can review more cars, show you a lot more content, and be able to answer your questions, concerns regarding the automotive industry here in the Philippines and the world.
And for future watchers and listeners, no, do tune in because maybe in the next couple of vlogs, you'll get a chance to win prizes, no, for the question of the week. We have surprise gifts for you guys. Fast Times merchandise, a free coupon maybe from, I don't know, a free ticket to the White House or something. Well, with regards to the guestings, drop us a line, text us if you know, or email us. Email us at our Manila Times email, or which will be posted here in our comment section. This show is actually for you guys, no? That's why we're here, is to give answers to your questions. We're here for you. And with that, We say thank you, Lord, for another week, and we're looking forward to another session next week with you. And again, this is Dino of Fast Times, and in behalf of the crew, we're moving on with the times. Tama ba yan? Moving on with the times?
Pwede na rin,
Moving
boss.
on to-
Pwede na rin.
Pwede na yan.
Pwede na rin.
Pwede na yan. Yan. Thank you. Diyos Mabalos.